You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror of Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you.
DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com, WorkOnMyGame.com. Let's talk motivation. A lot of people ask about motivation. A lot of people are looking out there searching for motivation. Sometimes I put out a video or a tweet or an Instagram post, and people say, yo, thank you for sharing that because it motivates me, it's inspiring me and moving me to action. But here's the thing that you need to get. If you want to take yourself from where you're at to another level compared to, compared to the competition out there, here's what you need to start doing. Actually, let me tell you what you need to stop doing. Stop looking for motivation. Stop looking for inspiration and all of that surface level stuff that most people look for, and start looking for discipline. Start finding your disciplines. Actually, you ain't got to look for it. You have it. It's just a matter of where and when are you applying it. That's what you really need. You don't need motivation, you need discipline. What's the difference between the two? Motivation is something that comes from the outside that maybe you hear it or you see it. You might listen to a song that motivates you and you get inspired and you do your thing. Like when I'm working out or I'm running, I might listen to some music because it gives me a little bit of extra kick. When your motivation is something, you might read it in a book. It might be a fiery speech that somebody gives you. It's just something to get you going that comes from outside of yourself. Inspiration is something that comes from within yourself. Somebody tells you something, but then it sparks something in you and it moves you to action. Now, I'm not saying the motivation and inspiration are bad things. Let me be clear. I wrote a book called The Mirror of Motivation. I'm giving it away to you for free. You saw that when you watched this video. So I'm not against motivation. Here's what you need to understand though. Motivation and inspiration can come and go. You could be motivated today and not motivated tomorrow. You could get a great motivating speech from your coach before today's game, but next week's game, they give a speech and it just doesn't excite you the same way. You're not getting you don't get the same fire out of that speech as you got out of this one. So is that gonna be your excuse to not play well in the next game? You're gonna be garbage in the next game because you're just not motivated? Or what if the inspiration is just not lit up the way it needs to be lit up the next game? What are you gonna do? Motivation and inspiration, sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. It's kind of like if you're an artist and you make music. Some songs you might put out a song that becomes a hit record and it blows up and you go tour off that one song, but you also might put out a 10-track EP and none of them songs hit. None of them become hot records. None of them become the hit record that you wanted to become. So just because you try it or you're going for it doesn't mean it's always going to work. But discipline is different. Discipline is not like lighting the match and setting the fire. Discipline is, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm committed to. And I'm going to produce this work every single time regardless. That's what discipline is about. Discipline is about commitment. Discipline is about persistence. It's about being consistent, meaning very little variation from one performance to the next. And it's about being a professional. Actually, the other way around. Being a professional is about discipline. Anyone you know who's a professional at what they do, they're disciplined at it. Even if things ain't really popping off the way they want them to, they still disciplined in doing the job. Even if the season's not going the way they want it to go, they're still disciplined in showing up and doing the work. Discipline is about consistently doing what you're going to do regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether you're inspired or not, regardless of whether or not you're motivated, regardless of whether or not the work you've been doing is even working. Maybe your work's not even working the way that you want it to work right now, the way that you expected it to work. When you're disciplined, you keep doing the work anyway. You keep showing up anyway, and you keep doing what you're supposed to do anyway. So all people out there, whether it's you or anybody else who's on this hunt for motivation, so you can get excited about what you're doing and all of that, stop looking for motivation. You're looking for the wrong thing. Another thing about motivation is when you're seeking motivation or you're getting yourself motivated, you're putting yourself in competition with everybody else. Everybody's trying to find motivation. Most people, if you ask them, what's the thing that could really get you going mentally to do what you need to do, most people are going to say, when I get motivated, when I get that motivation and go. So here's the thing: if you're trying to compete against a whole bunch of other people who are all trying to get motivated, what if somebody else just gets a little bit more motivated than you, and y'all are equal in terms of skill? Or y'all are equal in terms of resources. Y'all are equal in terms of, you know, your standing and whatever it is you do. How you going to beat them if they got more motivation than you that day? If they listen to some motivational speaker who got them more hype than your motivational speaker got you, what are you going to do that day? You're probably going to lose. You're probably going to come up short. But see, if you're disciplined and you know, and you decide rather, that this is the level that I'm performing at, and I'm going to do this every single time. That's a commitment that you make. It's not about a skill level. This is a commitment that you make that this is what I'm going to do every single time, regardless of what's going on around me, regardless of what's going on within me. I'm going to perform at this level every single time. That discipline is something that can be counted on. That's something that can be depended on. That's something that people can bank on, something that people will expect, something that people will look forward to. And the thing is, when people can expect, they know what to expect from you. They know what they're going to get from you every single time. That's when you become relied upon. That's when you become dependent upon. And the things that you rely on, the things that you depend on, you think about the things in your life that you rely and depend on. You know what you do with those things or for those things? You pay for them. You pay for things that you can depend on. Like this car right here, I depend on the fact that when I come to the parking garage and I get in the car and I push the start button, that the car is going to start running. And when I put the car in drive and I put my foot on the pedal, that the car is going to move forward. I depend on that. I rely on that. I expect it. Therefore, I'm willing to pay for it. I'll pay the insurance. I'll pay for the maintenance. I'll pay for the oil changes. I'll pay to put gas in it. The only reason I put money into it is because I know what I'm going to get out of it. Usually, we don't just keep putting money into something we don't know what we're going to get. I mean, even in investment, you don't know exactly what you're going to get all the time, but you expect to get something. That's why you put money into it, right? It's the same thing with you. If you want to be a professional, is a person who gets paid. So I'm trying to tie all this together if you follow me. Professional gets paid. Why do people pay professionals? It's because of their talent? Because a professional is motivated? No and no. We don't pay a professional because they're talented. You could be talented. I can admire your talent without paying you anything. You can be motivated. I'm not paying you to get motivated. Anybody can get motivated, but I'm not paying you for that. Why does a professional charge money for what they do, and why do they actually get that money? Reason is, you know exactly what you want to get from a professional. A professional athlete gets paid because the team that pays him knows exactly what they're going to get out of that player every single night. At least on average, you got a general idea of what you're going to get out of that player every single game. That's why you're willing to pay him. You pay and you don't have to be an athlete. You could be a plumber. Why do you pay a plumber? Because you know that plumber is going to fix your toilet or your pipes or whatever the problem is when you call that plumber. If they can't fix it, you ain't paying them. That's the way that it works. And it's the same thing in anything else in life. You get paid as a professional because you show up every single time. So that's the two definitions of a professional. One, the by the letter definition, the letter of the law definition of professional is a person who gets paid to do what they do as their full-time job, full-time activity. The spirit of being a professional, this is the other definition. This is the one that I use. This is the work on your game definition, is a person who shows up and delivers and does their job at a very consistent level every single time, regardless of what's going on, regardless of how they feel, regardless of what happened the day before, regardless of a whole lot of maybe varying circumstances. They just get the job done every time. That's what a professional is. And that's what gets you paid. So if you're looking to be a professional at what you do and you want to get paid like a professional, you want to be recognized like a professional, you don't need to get motivated. You need to get disciplined so that you're delivering every single time. Work on your game. Dre all day.